My wife and I have a daughter named Madison, who is 20, and recently had a baby girl a few weeks ago. I wasn't thrilled about it, but my wife and I have been supportive. She still lives with us, so we've all had to adapt to a baby in the house. My wife and I have two other kids, one of which, Ryan, is pre-tween and has terrible ADHD. He's very energetic and is always running around the house making noise. We're all used to how he behaves. Nobody's ever had a problem with it until Madison brought a baby into the house. Everything was fine until Madison started complaining to my wife and me that Ryan was repeatedly waking up the baby after she's finally been settled down to sleep by making loud noises and barging into her room to look at her and trying to wake her up from her sleep to play with her. She'd complained about it a few times, so I told Ryan that he needs to keep in mind that the baby's trying to sleep, so he has to calm down a bit, and he seemed to understand what I was saying. I also reminded Madison that Ryan can't help how he behaves and is naturally loud and full of energy. I heard nothing about it for a while, so I assumed that it would be sorted, but I was in the kitchen one afternoon and I heard shouting coming from upstairs, so I went up to see what was wrong. I went up to see Madison angrily shouting at Ryan, who was in tears. I asked her what the heck was going on, and she explained that, once again, Ryan had barged into her room, shouting, while the baby was sleeping, and as a result, had woken her up. I told her I didn't care what Ryan had done, because it was no excuse for making him cry. She obviously didn't like that I wasn't on her side, so she started criticizing my parenting skills, saying how I needed to start disciplining Ryan properly. I snapped back at her and told her that if she didn't want to deal with Ryan, she shouldn't have had a child in my house. And if she didn't like it, she could get out. She didn't take me saying that and stormed off. She's refusing to apologize and has been avoiding speaking to me since, which I think is quite petty, but it is what it is. Am I the idiot? What the heck do you mean he can't control how he behaves? A medical condition isn't a free pass to do whatever he wants or for you to let him. You are the idiot, 100%, and your son deserves better than to be allowed to use a disability as an excuse, or life is going to hit him way harder than you've prepared him for. If Ryan's ADHD is so bad that he can't understand not to wake up a sleeping baby, he has extremely serious issues. There's something wrong with Ryan, and you should show more heart to a young woman who's just given birth and is struggling with postpartum and intense hormones while being sleep deprived. It's probably a case of the boys will be boys approach to parenting. Ryan gets free reign of the house, and Madison has to take it or leave it. Makes me wonder what other differences were applied in the past and how they contributed to Madison's current situation. I was a tiny bit on Ryan's side, new baby in what is really his childhood home, lots of energy, until OP revealed that he burst into his sister's room without knocking while the baby's asleep. OP, so, do you and your wife even try to parent Ryan? The daughter was likely pregnant at 19, so there was probably not a lot of parenting going around in general. He's just naturally full of energy? Yeah, all I can think about is the physical and emotional toll and the potential damage to both the daughter and granddaughter stemming from improper sleep. That boy will turn into an entitled monster of an adult because he'll live his life hearing that all of his rude, crappy behavior is unacceptable. To me, seems like he's punishing his daughter by letting his son run wild. The only thing he said about her is that he's disappointed and doesn't even seem to care about his grandchild. Dude, we know you're using Ryan's ADHD to cover up your disappointment with your daughter having a child. Yes, she should get a place of her own if she can, but you're just using your son to mask the fact that you dislike that your daughter has a baby at 20. My wife, 38 female, and I, 39 male, have been married for 15 years and have 3 kids, 2 tweens and a pre-tween. My wife's younger sister, Ann, 36, currently lives in Florida with her girlfriend and 2 kids, teen and tween. The teen is gay. Anne's girlfriend obviously isn't the father to her kids. Anne came out as bi about 5 years ago and divorced the kid's father. I don't know a lot of details about her divorce. Still, I do know that she was granted primary custody of her kids after a long and tumultuous custody battle. Last weekend, my wife came to me and said she needed to talk. Apparently, Anne's landlord has either refused to renew the lease for the house they rent or increase the rent to price Anne out of it. My wife wasn't sure. As a result, they have to be out of their house on June 1st. Also, due to recent political events in Florida, Anne wants to move her family out of state. My family lives in a Midwest state with a much more LGBTQ+ friendly atmosphere. Anne told my wife that she and her girlfriend agreed that moving their family to our state would be a good move for them. But given the short timeline for their housing situation, they're up against the clock. So Anne asked my wife if they could stay with us while they found a place for them to live. I told my wife I had a lot of reservations about that idea. We only have one extra bedroom, so sleeping arrangements would be difficult and would probably involve moving kids into rooms together. Also, I currently work from home, and my office space is located in that extra bedroom, so my work situation would be directly impacted. I don't have a physical office to go to for work. Also, the housing market in our area is tough right now. Houses are going for above market price and selling fast. The rental market isn't any better. All of that leads me to believe that if Anne and her family come and stay with us, it won't be short term. And the people most directly impacted by this will be our kids, not my wife and me. I explained all of this to my wife and told her I didn't think it was a good idea. I told her I felt bad for the situation Anne and her family are in, but she's asking a lot of our family, and I don't feel like we're in the proper position to take them in. My wife didn't like my response one bit. She accused me of not caring about her sister and that we had taken my brother and his family in short term before. This is true, but a vastly different situation. My brother was renovating his home, and we were given a concrete time frame for their stay. The work permit for their renovation had an end date by which the work needed to be completed, so we knew exactly how long they would be staying. They ended up staying a week less than they expected, and at that time, our two youngest were still sharing a room anyway, so we had 2 extra bedrooms, and I wasn't working from home. She sees this as me playing favorites with my family versus hers and thinks I'm being an idiot. You are the idiot. Please reconsider. Your sister-in-law is living in a place that has become dangerous to her family. These are exceptional circumstances. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be disruptive. It's going to be crowded. And it's definitely going to be temporary. If it's too disruptive for you to work from home, perhaps you can go to a cafe, a co-working space, or even your lovely air-conditioned car in the driveway. Work with your wife to set up some procedures and logistics. Make it fun for the kids. Camping in the bedrooms, yay. Be kind. Don't add to the trauma. And regarding housing, sometimes things work out. My husband and I found a place and closed within 3 weeks in a market with a 3-month lead time. Work from a car? Are you high? OP has no room in his house for an extra person, let alone 4 for an indefinite period. He has not said he's supposed to be helping them find a rental, but it seems they and his wife don't want that so that they can save money. They can find a rental online, for that matter, only needing guidance regarding suitable areas. OP's marriage and family are also on the line here, and it's obviously a high priority, as it should be. OP, you're not the idiot. You articulated clear and convincing reasons for declining to allow them to stay with you. You've also differentiated between this situation and the situation with your brother in a few huge ways: the finality of the timeline, lack of space, and work circumstances. I understand that your wife wants to help her sister, But this doesn't feel like a reasonable ask to me. You're right that you and your kids will be most impacted by this. If the housing market is bad, their temporary stay could become indefinite. My 25 female boyfriend, 27, recently took in his nieces, toddler and tween. It was all agreed upon by me beforehand, but we also decided that I just don't want to play mommy. I'll help out when needed, ensure they're taken care of and have what they need, clothes, toys, etc. I also do spend time with them if I have time at the weekend. For the time being, my boyfriend took reduced hours. I work 5 days a week with different shifts and different places, so 3 days a week, I'm out from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., and 2 days a week, I'm out from 7:20 to 6:30. I've considered asking for extra hours on those 2 days. An extra hour or two, obviously, sometime does include travel time. The money is good, and we're comfortable, but I earn most of it, which means I can't reduce, nor do I want to reduce my hours, even if I am exhausted. I got home the other day, and straight away, the toddler needed attention from me. So I gave her a cuddle and told my boyfriend I'm getting in the shower. When the older one tried talking to me, I told them I'd be off Saturday and we'd go to the zoo and spend the day together, but my feet hurt and I want a bath. It was 9 p.m. They should have been in bed. I do talk to them. Had it been any other day, I would have spoken to them. I'd had a long day due to someone not turning up. I got out of the bath, tidied the house a little, and went to bed. My boyfriend was a little funky with me and told me I was a major idiot for not even spending 5 minutes speaking to the children when I got in, and that I could have gotten in the bath afterward, knowing they're going through a lot right now. He didn't even join us at the zoo, saying that I need alone time to bond with them since I absolutely refuse to cooperate during the week. And he's saying his family is saying I'm an idiot, and he wants to clarify how he feels when he goes to therapy next. Am I the idiot? Edit. I'm the one who gets up nearly every night when the youngest has nightmares. I'm the one they go to when they want to cuddle, and I'm the one who does reading or homework with them. I'm just not comfortable being called mommy. I'm not comfortable doing school runs or speaking to teachers. My schedule wouldn't even allow it. I'm not comfortable calling out sick if they're sick. I don't make their lunches or tuck them in, but I'm still present, just maybe not in a mommy way, but that doesn't mean I'm not there. Their mother is unfit, and their father doesn't want anything to do with either of them. Not the idiot. Your boyfriend is trampling all over your boundaries by expecting you to co-parent after you made it clear that you don't want to co-parent. This living situation is not going to be sustainable. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree to it or not, your boyfriend will expect you to co-parent and will continue to get angry at you when you don't. Agreed. But his goal isn't that she co-parents. His goal is that she becomes the default parent. Then he won't have to do anything. She earns money, tidies the house, and makes him look like a saint with his family by parenting the kids. He's a lazy, manipulative bum. He even says OP needs time to bond with them, literally making it crystal clear he expects that of her. He is massively overstepped here, outright trodden on all of her boundaries. I love the family calling you an idiot, but you're helping take care of children who aren't related to you but them. What are they doing to help? Are they coming to babysit? Contributing financially? Taking the kids on vacation? Tell them it's time to pay up. OP, realistically, this isn't going to work for any of you. No matter how hard you try, there's no way to avoid you having to play the mommy role with them living with you full time. If you don't want to be a parent, which is understandable, remove yourself from this situation now. In the long run, it'll be better for you, your boyfriend, and the kids. If you stay, you will end up resenting them and your boyfriend. My daughter's been attending the same summer camp since she was 7. Her mother and I separated when she was a tween, and we split everything evenly, and always paid half and half for her camp. We never intended on it being a long-term thing, but she made friends, and they always look forward to seeing each other every summer. Back in October 2021, I came home to my daughter with a friend I had never seen before. She introduces her as a friend from camp. She was in the area because her family was going to Disney World. She and my daughter were very excited to see each other. I was apprehensive about having a stranger in the home, but she stayed overnight sometimes. One day I was cleaning through my room, and I realized I couldn't find an envelope I got from the bank a few days prior. After tearing apart the house and not finding it, I concluded it must have been my daughter's camp friend. I never lose stuff, and I lose money the few days a stranger from across the country has been in my house. I was livid, and when my daughter finally came back, I asked her about it, and she told me to lower my voice. Her friend was coming in as well, and they didn't see it. I confronted her friend, who got overly upset, saying her family was wealthy. She doesn't need money. And my daughter was defending her, saying that they were never apart, so there was no way she could have. Regardless, I told her she wasn't invited inside and had to leave. This caused a huge argument with my daughter, who didn't speak to me for weeks after saying I'm disgusting. She wouldn't even agree to our custody agreement and stayed at her mother's house for months. We eventually started talking, but it was awkward and short. Then in the summer of 2022, her mother asked me to pay for half of her summer camp, and I refused. Why would I pay to board my daughter with a thief? This caused another huge fight, and my ex paid for it all that summer. My daughter hasn't spoken to me since and refuses to come over. I decided to sell my car recently, and before I sold it, I did a deep clean and ended up finding the envelope in my trunk. I was so confused about how it got there, but was relieved to find it. I felt terrible about the situation with my daughter, so I texted her, letting her know that I had found the money and that I was sorry. We spoke, and she said that she wanted me to say sorry to her friend on a 3-way call, which I did. And my daughter said to make up for it, I needed to pay for all of her camps, like her mother did last year when I refused. I was taken aback and said no, I'd just pay for half. She got upset again, saying it's the least I could do after I refused to pay last summer over money I misplaced after blaming her friend and embarrassing her, and I'm a huge idiot. Am I the idiot? I truly thought her friend had robbed me and that it was right not to send her there. You are the idiot. Big time, man. You treated your kid's friend like crap with no proof of any wrongdoing, refused to pay your fair share for camp, putting a financial burden on your ex over this. And even now that you know you were in the wrong, you're not doing the bare minimum to make up for that? I'm glad you apologized to the girl, but the least you can do is pony up the whole amount next year. You made many massive mistakes here and want to pretend none happened. That's not how it works. You need to own up to your mistakes and make them right. Part of that is paying for what your ex covered last year, because it was a mistake to make those accusations and not pay. Maybe then you'd learn that you do make mistakes, and in the future, you'll consider that you could be at fault before accusing children of taking things you misplaced. Your ego is going to ruin your relationship with your daughter, so pay for camp and keep it pushing. Is this the hill you want to die on with your daughter and ex? Also, just out of curiosity, while your daughter was staying with her mom for months, did you pay her mom child support as you should have? I doubt it. The OP values money over his relationship with or care for his daughter. When I was 12-ish, my dad accused me of going into his room and stealing his glasses. I hadn't stolen a thing in my life until that point. I rarely even got into trouble. But the man swore I had to have snuck in there and stolen them, because he always puts them on his nightstand. They were on top of his TV, right next to his nightstand. I've never forgotten it, and he never apologized. OP's kids will never forget, unless it's turned into a positive growth experience.